15 billion. That's how many cigarettes are sold every day. That's over 5.7 trillion cigarettes every year. If you were to stack these cigarettes, top to tail, you could go to the moon and back over 600 times. If you were to lay them down like this, you could wrap around the world 12,000 times. With a near $1 trillion market cap, if the cigarette industry were a country, it would be bigger than Portugal, Denmark, and New Zealand combined. Despite these insane numbers, in the UK, cigarette production has just hit its lowest point in over 100 years.
Shall we just have a cigarette on it?
More doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette.
Anybody got a match?
Come to where the flavor is. Come to Marlboro country.
Cigarettes were popularised during the First World War. Before the war, pipes were the preferred method of smoking. But during the war and the confined conditions in the trenches, pipes became inconvenient. The hassle and the bulk made it difficult to smoke them, leading to an increased demand for cigarettes, which were quick, convenient, and disposable. During the war, cigarette production rose from 18 billion to 47 billion cigarettes a year. That's an annual increase of 65% every year of the war. The Second World War further popularised cigarettes. In both wars, the soldiers' rations included a carton of cigarettes, normalising the habit. The military learned quickly that consumption of nicotine helped the troops' morale, helped calm their nerves, and provided a brief rest from the chaos of war. When asked what was needed to win the war, one American general said, "Tobacco as much as bullets. Tobacco is as indispensable as the daily ration." The psychological benefits that cigarettes presented to soldiers far outweighed the health concerns of the time, leading to a monumental jump in cigarette output, similar to that seen in the First World War.
Make today your big red letter day, your L&M red letter day. Superior taste and filter, it's the miracle tip. Make today your big red letter day. Change to L&M today.
L&M, so good to your taste.
So quick on the draw.
Get L&M today.
Their big red letter day, and yours is coming up. The day you change to L&M.
The advent of television and media was utilised by big tobacco companies to push their product onto a wider and wider audience. Many of the most persuasive advertising techniques modern companies use today were pioneered by these big tobacco companies.
York Imperial Size Cigarette. York Imperial Size Cigarette.
In 1956, a British doctor's study revealed that cigarettes could be linked to cases of lung cancer. Smoking had long been thought of as unhealthy among doctors and epidemiologists. However, anti-smoking campaigns were most well known in Nazi Germany, leading to their adoption being slow and unenthusiastic. Many viewed bans on smoking as invasive, overreaching, and downright undemocratic. This study, and many similar studies which were being released at the time, led to a frantic push in cigarette advertising. Different cigarette companies would experiment with new forms of marketing. Things like menthol flavouring and filters were introduced to cigarettes to try to mask the carcinogenic nature of their product.
For the best combination of filter and good taste, Kent satisfies best.
More smokers enjoy filters than any other kind of cigarette. And no wonder millions of smokers in particular enjoy Kent with the Micronite filter.
The makers of Newport's Lorillard even released a new line of cigarettes called Kent, using a filter made of micronite to give customers the greatest health protection in history. Unfortunately, the cutting-edge technology of micronite was blue asbestos. Now, luckily, Lorillard realized their mistake quickly It only took 2 years and 13 billion cigarette sales before they quietly took the asbestos out of the cigarette.
You don't see many wild stallions anymore.
Now, Marlboro had a different approach. Their cigarettes had been traditionally viewed as a lady's cigarette, with the strapline mild as May and a distinct filter tip to separate them from the manlier options. Following these new revelations about the health implications of cigarettes, Marlboro shifted their marketing strategy, moving away from the effeminate line of mild as May and introducing their cigarettes as a masculine product. Marlboro leaned into the countercultural and rebellious reputation that cigarettes were starting to garner and introduced their new mascot, the Marlboro Man. The Marlboro Man was the epitome of masculinity, the rugged cowboy riding through the rough terrain of untamed America with a Marlboro cigarette hanging out of his mouth. The association these adverts drew between strength, masculinity, freedom, and cigarettes was one of the most effective uses of lifestyle marketing ever seen. The campaign lasted for 45 years and took Marlboro from a minority brand holding below 1% market share to the dominant cigarette brand globally, now accounting for 40% of all cigarette sales in the United States. Health concerns about the implications of cigarettes grew exponentially from the British doctor study, as more and more doctors and scientists came forward with studies linking the consumption of cigarettes to heart disease, lung disease, and other serious health implications. Several measures were introduced by governments across the globe to try and educate the public about these threats. In 1967, the FCC implemented a fairness doctrine, where for every 3 cigarette adverts, a broadcaster must play a public service announcement covering the health implications of smoking. This doctrine was so effective that by 1971, the tobacco companies themselves lobbied the government to ban cigarette advertising on television entirely in an effort to stop smokers from quitting due to the reputational damage that these PSA broadcasts had done to the brand.
Not so fast, nicotine. If you want to go up fast, take one of these! With my X-ray vision, I can see the harm cigarettes do inside people's bodies. That's why I never say yes to a cigarette.
In the UK, the government banned all forms of tobacco advertisement, even going as far as following Australia's policy of plain packaging and clear health warnings. Starting in the 1980s, a series of heavy taxes have been levied on tobacco in the UK in an attempt to financially squeeze smokers out of addiction. Today, in 2025, when you pay £16 for a carton of cigarettes, £12.80 or 80% goes straight to the taxman. In the UK, cigarettes have been on a slow but steady decline since the early 1970s, and as new developments like vapes and nicotine pouches provide safer and cheaper alternatives for nicotine consumption, it seems therefore inevitable that cigarettes, like the briar pipe before it, will be relegated to the pages of history. Gone and forgotten, after over 100 years of dominance, shaping our lifestyles and our cultures, leaving behind a legacy of some 100 million preventable deaths. Right, that it?
Yeah, we're good.
Need a cigarette after that. 3, 2, 1, action. Gone and forgotten after over 100 years of dominance. Me, I can't remember anything.
You know, ours have 100 years of dominance.
Cut. In the UK, cigarettes